Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my chat. Here's my watch list for February 1st. Wait, so here we have the SPY futures opening up a little bit flat. It's actually down gap slightly, literally very slightly. If I were to zoom in into the intraday chart, okay, zoom in right here. Here we have the midnight open. It literally gap down this much. So 1 point, about a point. Yeah, no, wait. Where is it? Yeah, right here, about a point. So right in this area here. Anyways, SPY futures. Here is 6 p.m. close. And then we had a gap down in the futures, and then we are slowly fading off. Zooming out just a tad, you can see on the 5-day chart we have a very pronounced uptrend line here, like a short-term uptrend line that the SPY has built. What I'm thinking is that tomorrow we open flat right around here, and then out the gates it dip, and then bounce right off this trend line and come right back up. Big day today, or it's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow. Okay, because Amazon just had earnings, and their earnings reaction was pretty weak. But let's take a look at the SPY here real quick, though. So if the futures is opening flat, I do expect the SPY to be opening flat as well, a little bit under this VWAP, and then we'll come down, test the trend line, and then bounce right back up. Let's draw that trend line real quick. I think for the past 3 days, this trend line we're looking at so far, right? So open up flat, bounce off this trend line, and then test this VWAP again. Whether it breaks out the VWAP or not, I really don't know. Oh, it is broken out. So bounce. Oh, so it would then bounce off the VWAP. So this is the real time. I had to click data a little bit to bring it into perspective where I get the 200 SMA. Anyways, the SPY is a little bit ahead of itself. It's going to be an interesting day tomorrow because Amazon's had bad earnings, and Amazon's being such a big company in the part of the SPY, with it having a bad earnings reaction. It's as it comes down, it could pull the SPY down a little bit, right? That's why I'm calling it for a flat day, because I don't think Amazon will actually dump all the way down or pull the SPY all the way down, because there are a lot of other earning stocks as well that's holding or keeping the SPY up, right? Hence, I think it's going to be a flat day tomorrow in the SPY. Now, let's get into the watch list. Only 3 tickers tonight, actually. 3, 4, 5. I have 5 tickers tonight, but I'm only going to talk about 3. Okay. We also have some earnings in pre-market tomorrow. Amazon's going to be my main play tomorrow. All right. And as you can see, I have the 15-minute chart up here. Let's mark off some resistance and support. Tonight, very special Amazon. I have 3 resistance lines here. So I'm going to take one right here. Resistance 1, 1675. So let's bring that down right around this area. Okay. Resistance 2 is 1687. Change the color. 1687 or 1687.5. Right about there. And then resistance 3, we have 1700s. Okay. Now, these lines are not meant to be on point, especially on Amazon. I don't expect to call it to the dollar. I'm going to give it $1 to $2 wiggle room. When I'm playing Amazon, it's basically I'm just playing off the whole number. The pennies doesn't really matter on Amazon. Because of the spread and because of how high the price of the stock is. Also want to mark off some support lines as well. So our support 1, 1637. So let's mark that off right about here, 37.5. Okay. Support number 2, we have real quick 1612. So I really like this area here. And support number 3, we have 1595. So let's bring that in, 1595. Right about that area. Let's get some colors in here. Okay, so now that I have all the levels marked off for you, let's take a look at the chart. Boom. Scroll back a little bit. You'll see why I took these levels off, right? For example, the resistance area right here, right here in this area, right here in this area, and very specifically right here at this spot. So resistance 1, okay? Coming back into the chart, let's take a look at what happened. We have a massive pop because Amazon says they beat on revenues on Q4, and most of the time when Amazon comes out with Q4, their revenues beat because of the holidays, okay? But then they issued weak guidance, and then boom, this thing sells off. Now, currently, we have sold off a lot. I mean, if you're looking at it from the highs to the lows, from here to here, that's a lot. That's about 135 points. So we sold off 135 points. The short sellers did pile in. Okay, so as it came down, came back up, tested the VWAP. As it came down, they covered, came back up, tested the VWAP. The short sellers started piling in, and hammered it down. Okay, so there are still shorts in this stock, in my opinion. So what do I think it's going to do? I think because it closed so weak and it's on bad earnings reaction, I do think in the pre-market it will sell off a little bit more. Okay, and once the support holds, the support area, the 1637 that holds, I think these short sellers will start covering. In the pre-market, we will see a little grind up, right, back into one of these levels, and then right out of the gates, it's just going to dump and fade right off. And then it might just play within these areas here, the 1700 to the 1637, I don't know, but I did mark off some more support lines just in case. And as you can see, 1637, it's basically support from here, right? We have a lot of support here in this area. And then we have the 1612, which is right here in this area. And we had prior double bottom. So we have some support here. And then the final line of defense is right here at 1600, 1595 area. This is the final line of defense for the buyers. Okay, this area is also the 50 SMA on the daily chart. Currently, we are sitting at what? 1645. So somewhere around this area, right here, right? Is that it? Yeah, we're sitting around this area. So what I want to see is a pop out the open, and then we'll test the high of this candle or this area, and then fail right back down, and then fade into the close. We might come all the way back down to the 50 SMA, and that's my thinking on Amazon. That's my plan. Okay, next up we have Facebook. Okay, so let's take a look at Facebook here real quick. Support, 2 of them. Resistance, 2 of them. Okay, so what Facebook did is a massive gap up on earnings reactions, and then it popped a little bit and then starts selling off. This gap up is huge. Last night I called Facebook basically to a T. I called for the bounce at the perfect spot here around the 165 area, right? It literally bounced off 165 where I called it, and then it just ripped. There's a massive gap to fill, okay? And I do think it will fill, but at first it's going to we have short sellers piled in. We have a very concise downtrend here, okay? And after hours, we are selling off a little bit because Amazon is pulling as well. So overall, it's pulling the market down just a tad. Now, all these short sellers, they haven't covered yet. I believe that they will start covering tomorrow right at this 165 double bottom area, okay? Right here, okay? If it reaches 165, they'll cover, cause a pop, and from there, I will want to watch resistance area 167.50, okay? This area right here, you can see very concise support zone, prior resistance zone, right? Today, it played really well in this area as well. I also want to watch, if 167.5 pops through, I will be watching 168.5, okay? Even more clear right here. Basically, all of these here. So these levels are not daily levels, more of the intraday level, short-term level. And from here, I think these lines will hold as resistance tomorrow. The stock does need a little bit more on the downside to relax from the previous run-up, right? As far as support goes, I mean, if it snaps, it doesn't cover pop. If it snaps this 165, then the next support area I'm watching is here, 164.20, as well as 162. So that would be the prior earnings reaction levels here, right here and here, right? Watch these two levels as support, and it's just going to chop around if it doesn't come straight through, right? So if it's chopping around in this area here, I really don't want to play it. I want to watch for the morning reaction and see how it does first. So that's Facebook. Finally, we have AMD. AMD, 2 massive days in a row after the earnings reaction. Even the day before that, we had a sell-off. So, I mean, the overall move, if you really want to look at it, it's from 19 to 25, right? So that's huge. Does AMD have what it takes to run the 3rd day in a row? I don't know, but I think it's highly unlikely. It does need a consolidation day pullback. So what I'm looking for is a test of 25, key psychological whole number right here, okay? However, I don't think it can actually get back up that high. At the end of the day, power hour, 3 o'clock today, the stock snapped a very key critical level, okay? And I think, I mean, if the overall market is going to gap down a little bit out the gates, I want to see a cover pop into this 24.50 area and then drop it, right? Anywhere from 24.50 to 24.60 is my call on the resistance zone. Let's use a long horizontal line. Yeah, 24.65 to be specific. So we have a very concise resistance zone right now. Okay, I don't want to see it get over. So as long as it stays under this area, I want to short it. I want to bring it back down to my first target. Well, I'm not sure what it's going to do at 24. It is a whole number, but my first target is around this area, around the 23.30 to 23.50 area. Okay, just call it 23.35. Nah, 23.30 is fine. 20 cents. Nice, concise support zone. Okay, we are in no man's land right now, but we do have ideal resistance zone and a support zone and some key psychological whole numbers in case it gaps up, right? So that's what I'll be watching for. I'm watching for short, and I'm looking for any pops into this area to top out and short. That's the 3 tickers I'll be watching, mainly focusing on. The next 2 I will be watching is CRON. Very, very overextended. I think I'll be watching for the highs here at 2040s, maybe even 2050s. Okay, CRON runs very closely to its ETF MJ. So I'm going to show you that real quick. But I mean, if we're just eyeballing this chart, this is parabolic overextension 101, right? So I'll be looking for a pullback day. This is MJ, the ETF for weed stocks, right? On daily chart, it looks very similar to CRON. So they run in symmetry, in my opinion. And with MJ, I think it might top out around this 36 area. It might have another day of running, but again, very overextended. The way it closed so well, it looks like it wants to gap up. And on any extended gap up, I think it's going to sell right off. And that's my kind of side watch on CRON. Next up, we have NVDA. NVDA ran massive today. Okay, it's basically breakout. Basically, NVDA dipped and broke out. So it dipped, held some level. We see support level here today. Okay, I believe Trick nailed the long here, and he rode it all the way up, hitting a 260% on the option side. What NVDA looks to me like it needs a pullback day. Okay, after every breakout, it's healthy for a stock to pull back. I'm not saying that NVDA won't run again, but it does need a pullback day. I'm looking for topping action. Probably high up day would give me a nice double top, right? But we also have the 50 SMA here at that 146 level, so it might pop through a little bit, test, and then fail. I want to pull it back to 142. I guess this would be my target here at 142, right? If the pullback were to hold. So that's what I'll be looking at. I'll be looking at a pop and drop. 142, I'll pay myself, and that's NVDA. Tomorrow morning, we have a few earnings coming up. We have Honeywell, HON. I'll be watching that. We have MRK. I believe the company's called Merck and Company. MRK is a very big pharmaceutical company. It's pretty well known, so they're announcing earnings tomorrow. And then we have ExxonMobil. This is an oil play, XOM, but it's pretty safe to play in my opinion because the spread on it is pretty tight, right? We have massive volume coming in, so I'll be watching these three in the pre-market as well. If you like my watch list, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Ciao.